Now let's have a look at another solution provided by Dr. Garlick. It's a totally different approach. He actually used the key of Z340, which was available to him. He published that relatively recently in summer 2025. And in contrast to Harvey Hines, he had the key available and of course applied it because there is a clear hint in the Zodiac text saying this is Zodiac speaking, by the way, have you cracked the last cipher that I sent you? And so he did so, applied the key, and ended up with a solution saying, Doctor, eat a torpedo. You can follow all these explanations on YouTube as well. There's a link here, and there's quite a nice explanation, particularly with the historic context, as he addresses Dr. Marsh, a president of the American Cryptology Society, I understand. So he has not found a name in contrast to Harvey Hines, and it's basically an offense addressed to Dr. Marsh. I think Dr. Garlick's solution makes a lot of sense. It considers the historic context, and it's using the Z340 key, which is FBI approved and very hard to obtain, and which made a lot of sense as well, of course, that's why it was approved by the FBI. However, I still have my problems with that solution, namely why Zodiac has introduced two new characters for the Z13 cipher. All symbols to tell the code crackers of Z340, potentially Dr. Marsh, to eat a torpedo are actually already in the 340 key. So there is no need to introduce new symbols. The T, the R, and the P are actually covered by the 340 key. So the question remains, why Zodiac introduced those two new characters, the inverted Aries, and which can also interpret it as an anchor, and the encircled 8. Why are these two symbols introduced? So furthermore, all characters of the 340 key that were picked to encode Dr. Eat the Torpedo are standard textbook letters, besides just the two that were introduced additionally without the need. Is that a coincidence? I think most unlikely. Now the question arises, what do you make out of this? And here comes my hypothesis. Let's assume Larry Kane was indeed the Zodiac killer, so Hines was right within his report. Let's assume Dr. Marsh or any successful code breaker of Z330 would apply the code, and most likely they would understand the message, Doctor, eat a torpedo. So, doing so, they would ignore a second message and miss Zodiac's identity. That he's a male, they would miss his name and the year and month of his birth, which is normally enough to identify a person. So I think Zodiac wanted the code breakers of Z340, in case they really break it, to use it as well for the new cipher Z13. That's why he gave that hint to actually disguise that he gave indeed his name in Z13 with an anagram. That's why Zodiac introduced two new symbols. That's why he used M and NAM, which does not say much in Hines' solution. But it makes a lot of sense for reading Doctor Eat a torpedo. The letter characters to code Dr. Eat a torpedo were selected to code a second message, namely to identify and give the name of Zodiac. 2 new characters were added to define his year and month of birth. Now let's look at the probability of my hypothesis. What is the probability to get Kane by chance when you actually intend to code Dr. E with the 340 key? Here again I have the 340 key listed. So the 340 key has for a D, if you want to code Doctor, for the D of Doctor, you have 3 options. For the R, you have 5 options. For the E, you have 6 options. And for the A, you have 5 options. Among them, for example, the K. All those chosen characters I have highlighted in red. So the chance for coincidence becomes only 1 to 450. 1 by 3, by 5, by 6, by 5. So, and furthermore, I would like to point out that it's really a strange coincidence that Zodiac has only chosen standard textbook letters. And later on, he introduced two new symbols which are not textbook letters. So finally, I would like to conclude or summarize that I found more good reasons to believe that both solutions provided by Harvey Hines and Dr. Garlick to be basically correct. So Dr. Garlick's solution is based on the FBI-approved Z340 key. That makes it a likely solution to start with, but as I have outlined, it's not fully conclusive alone in my view. Open questions for both solutions become easier to understand when you assume that both solutions are principally or basically correct. The 2 solutions do not contradict each other, just the opposite. The suggested double meaning and most likely intended double meaning by Zodiac makes them more likely. Both solutions together strongly support Hines' claim that Larry Kane is the Zodiac killer and responsible for the Zodiac crimes and the author of the Zodiac letters. So 2 final remarks. By using both the 340 key and placing an anagram of his name in Z13, Zodiac could place 2 messages. First, directly he could answer and offend and trick Dr. Marsh by telling him to eat a torpedo. And secondly, he could place his name in Z13 without even the best code experts in the world noticing it. So Z13 was potentially nothing but a brilliant answer for Dr. Marsh for a hypothetical Zodiac suspect named Kane, and adds further circumstantial evidence that Kane is indeed the Zodiac killer as Harvey Hines claimed. Many thanks for your interest and comments, and sorry for my rather poor English.